Welcome to our next adventure with Chemology 411, a podcast about anything and everything. Kim and her guests will take you behind the scenes, behind the story, or behind the bar. So sit back. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened, tray table in its upright position, all carry-ons stored under the seats. But for this adventure, electronic devices must remain on, as we are ready to take off on our next adventure. Introducing Kim Schultz and Chemology 411.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 28. I know, 28, yay. This evening, we're going to be talking about working remotely from our home. Now that Tyson is temporarily doing that, he's going to give you a little bit of hints on the new, and I'm going to talk about being a professional work-at-homer. I am Kim Schultz, and I'm your adventure coordinator for this show. Let's say hi to my co-host, Tyson Harley.
Hello, Kimmy. And so this is our second week trying Zoom. And it's not so much, listen, it's free speech, so don't get too frustrated by us. It's not so much that I am concerned with the situation. It's just that we also don't want to be the ones that are like, man, why'd all this happen? And we didn't have to go this far, and then we get sick.
Right.
So we just didn't want to have that be out in the public. So we are doing Zoom again.
Yes, and I get to sit upstairs in my chair.
Yeah, see, the background looks different than when I'm there in person. So
right. So
I'm sitting in my new work from home area. Also, well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. I do want to let people know that I have asthma, and so the pollen count has been horrible here the past few days. And so normally I have about a month and a half where when I talk, I cough or I just can't breathe. So I am not sick. This is my normal for the last 45 years. I've just not been able to. So you might hear me take a drink or I might cough, but I am not sick. This is just what I get to deal with every single year at this time, normally through the month of April, sometimes all the way to May. So just to tell you that. But anyway, go ahead, Tyson.
You mean Tyson's quick hits?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's related to the current thing, and I'm sorry, we're just going to mention it lightly. So back when I was in the Navy, I was in an advanced program, even though it was enlisted. It was around nuclear power. And we took classes that are as hard as any classes that I took, short of when I eventually went to law school, which was hard in a different way. But anyway, it would be very complicated thermodynamics and nuclear theory and advanced math and things like that. So what they would do with that, if you got some, they'd have their own little abbreviations. Think of FUBAR, right? You've heard of that. That was initially in the Navy, or at least the service. Screwed up beyond all recognition. That would be SUBAR, but this is FUBAR. So anyway, one of them is if you are trying to explain something and not, or answer a question on a test, and not only did you get it wrong, you weren't even close to even understanding the idea of it. And so you didn't even have the concept right. It's not
right.
So they would put TCE, total conceptual error. So it's like, that someone would say conceptual error. You're like, oh, you don't even have the idea right, dude, let alone the right answer to when you apply it. And then if it was worse, it'd be total conceptual error. And so anyway, I saw this 2 times in one day, and I'm just shaking my head. Listen, if you're at risk of the current situation, then, be careful. And we should all be a little careful, of course, and definitely courteous of those around us. And I certainly do that. But I was driving along California Avenue in Topeka and had left a store, and I was about 2 blocks from the store, and there's a woman on a scooter with something over her face and then holding another thing over her face over on the sidewalk, not anywhere near anyone. So that's what I refer to as a total conceptual error. because
Right.
there's nobody around. It's not in the general air, people.
No.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works, as they say. And to that, so when you get towards people, and even better, you don't even recent stuff out of a New York City doctor. You can go look on my page. Tyson just put up a slideshow. That's me. Unless you're like refer to myself in third person. Well, we're just that big of a deal now.
Exactly.
So anyway, if you look there, a New York City doctor that's on the front lines of all this, they said they got 12,000 beds. It's basically the biggest hospital in New York. And basically he works only COVID patients. And he said, through the air is not really a thing almost ever. Now, you still want to keep 3 to 6 foot because why not? But the overwhelmingly, he used the word overwhelmingly, it is coming in physical contact with somebody who has it and then touching your face. That's your eyes, your nose, your mouth. So go check that out. But I just want to say, guys, it's not just setting out in the air. If you're not even near anyone yet, and you're just near surfaces that you have been around, like your scooter, you're good. You can wait to put the mask on later. Now, what this guy would say is that, well, the mask allows you to remember to not touch your face so much, which is true. But this person had the mask on and then was holding like strangle holding it onto her face. The second thing, like a handkerchief, like, man, I am at risk with every single meter that this scooter goes forward. Did you like that? I went metric on that.
You did.
So it's like, and the other thing too is when you see people riding in their own vehicle just on the street and they've already got their masks on. And now again, to me, that's a slight revision since, I heard that video. It's like, yeah, it makes sense if you don't just go ahead and touch objects and then accidentally just touch your nose and stuff. If you're trying to work that habit, that mask makes sense. But I guarantee you, they're like going along the road thinking that, oh, air's coming at me and coronavirus. No, that's not the way it works, guys. That 3 to 6 feet thing is that's the closest to scientific. The other thing I'll say too is the guy didn't say 6 feet; he said 3 to 6. And this is a New York City doctor on the front lines. But anyway, those are my TCE, total conceptual errors for the current situation. And I think I don't have any other quick hits, except I know one thing I do want to say. We had said yesterday that we'd heard. Re-listening to our early podcast, at one point we had an idea that maybe we'd just watch a movie separately and then come together and talk about it. So maybe that might be something we do in the future. I didn't do my usual sound effects. Sorry. Go ahead and just imagine.
That's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. So Tyson quick hits are over. Go ahead, because we have like jokey joke fun time too, which is a lot of times what Tyson quick hits are about. So,
well, first off, you were talking about masks, and we're probably going to have different views on this because from what I have been reading is they're saying if you are an essential worker, you're around a lot of people and you could potentially be a carrier, you should wear a mask so that you're not going to spread it out to people. But the one thing that they said was you can't touch the mask. You aren't supposed to, keep your hands off your face. But don't touch the front of the mask because material actually can get, if someone does sneeze and it gets on the front of your mask or whatever. But I went to Dylan's today and I had my mask in my purse and it was not in there because my daughter made me a mask.
Dylan's local,
which is a grocery store.
Yeah.
So she had made me the mask. She comes in, her mask is tied up around her neck like she's going to wear it. So I take it with me because I'm not going to be the only person in the store without a mask on. But I'm not going to wear the mask if people aren't wearing it. I'm only at home. I have not been wandering around, hanging out anywhere. I'm just sitting at home, or I go to my office, which once again, I'm alone in my office. So I get to the grocery store and we're told now that there's going to be a limited so many people in the store. And I was like, if they even make me stand outside, I'm not going to be happy. But nope, that didn't happen. Walked in, had the cleaned off my thing, walked in. There was probably 40 people with a mask on. None of the staff had masks on. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because I would have just put it on for show. For me, it's bothersome. It's hot. And I touch my face more because it's on and I'm messing with it the whole time. I'm just a messer. So I had it if I needed to turn into character or whatever. I'd be like, oh, I'm all down. But I did not have to turn it on to put it on today. So there's some places that are like fining you and they're making you have to, and they're not listening to the doctors of, this is just a precaution. So it just, I was like, oh, I'm going to take it with me. I grabbed it.
Yeah, my regular social media had that where I don't even know the dude. He's just like, he's interesting. I never met him before in Las Vegas. And I think it was a county that's Las Vegas is in, but maybe not. But I thought where it's like, no, maybe it was a California one. He posted it, but it was a California county. That if you could be fined $1,000 for not wearing your mask. I mean, again, total conceptual errors, not only about the mask and its effectiveness, but about freedom. But so much for that.
And it just makes people continually get more scared of what's going on. Like
the more people wearing them,
right?
It's not really true. You should wear them well, first of all, if you have it, then you shouldn't be out because you should. Out. Well, at least allegedly, but certainly if you had something that's like a flu, but you don't think it's COVID, what was that?
Mm-hmm. That must be your cat.
No, my cat's not over here. I don't know what that was. But yeah, you should wear it so that you're not coughing at people. But otherwise, you stay the 6 feet away. You're not coughing. You're not touching anybody. And you're being careful. This guy said, the New York City doctor said, have some Purell, which I know there's not any of, so that's the issue. You got to make your own. So basically, if you're indoors with your surfaces, you're okay. But as soon as you go to a foreign surface, like at the store, you should go ahead and wash your hands as soon as you can before you get back. And wash your hands. And then if you got anything on it, it's not like you're infected just because it touched you. It has to make it to your face.
Right.
So
then we've been, oh my goodness. So this week has been really busy because they come out with the PPP loan, which is the payroll protection plan. And I am personally not doing those, but I have so many clients that want to do those. And so I did a little bit of research on them. Definitely not going to go into it on here. I can talk about it on a different show because it would totally bore you. But it's a lot of tedious work and it just kept changing and changing. So this week, a week before April 15th, and I know they've extended the tax season, but I don't extend the tax season. Like your brain can only do tax season for so long. This is not something you can mentally do. And so I had to redo a bunch of different things and get a lot of stuff done that I was going to do this weekend because I needed to submit applications. And so I will keep you guys up abreast of all of this money that the government is promising everyone. I will let you know how that turns out.
Yeah, do that. And so you're going to try to go, listen, hey, after the 15th, good luck finding your tax person because I
don't do that. I don't do that. I don't have that many people left from me. I just don't go to the CPA office. He just has to do his own. That means I'm just at home.
And can you mention the other thing that you're going to start doing? I don't think any of them are posted yet. Your little remember the abbreviation for the new thing that you're doing by yourself to work through some of this? I have my Chemology clips with a K. Both of those start with K. Get it? Yeah. Alliteration. Isn't that cute?
So my first one, and they will not be my clips are basically what's going on. It's kind of like a little bit of a diary, and the first one is of course going to be on the coronavirus, so it will not be released.
No, we don't want to spell that with a K.
No,
coronavirus. Kim's coronavirus clips, and people get the wrong idea.
Yeah, no. But anyway, so I have started that. So a lot of times when I see articles and things, I'll just stop and I'll just record a little bit about it. It's sometimes it's not nice. I am not going to tell you anymore. You have to just wait and listen to it.
Slightly ranty sometimes.
I do get ranty and I do get a little bit pissed.
So when you're saying you're not releasing any right now, you want it to be for, do you mean just for the coronavirus stuff? You'd rather kind of just
the coronavirus one will be one thing when this is all over. When we are released into freedom, then I will release this, and it'll be from the beginning to the end of me predicting, non-predicting, me being right, me being wrong.
So
not wrong.
When we're free, then, so what, like the year 2300 then? No, seriously. I mean, it's a little irritating because they're already trying to say that it probably is going to happen in the winter too. So
yeah, well, as soon as we decide that we don't want to continually destroying our entire world as we know it, then we'll release the clips. But that's just kind of like daily. I just kind of post in there.
Well, now I'm kind of interested. I want to get like insider access. How much is the membership?
I don't know. I don't know if you can afford it or not.
I mean, with all the money I make from this podcast, just take it out of my paycheck. Just direct it.
No, it's like 3 times what you make at this podcast.
Ooh, that is an expensive membership. That's just a good way to find an eligible bachelor for you too.
I know.
If anybody wants to listen to you so much that they pay that much money, that dude has some change, homie.
Some change. He's got a little jingle in his pocket.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then with that, we have there's the $600 unemployment thing. I'll talk about that in the clips of what's happening with that. And of course,
so
the $1,200.
What is that? I mean, just generally,
well,
you've seen the meme, basically that thing that's going around in a meme that everybody's going to get $600 extra.
No,
I mean,
no.
It's going around sometimes inaccurately is why I say it. But
well, it is inaccurate. What they're trying to say is that everybody on unemployment has a potential to make $600 more. And, if you thought about that and you think that the Kansas Department of Labor are getting almost 500,000 phone calls a day because they have 40 people trying to filter this through and people are panicking. If you really just stop and think about the $600, first of all, it's got to come from the federal government. Secondly, every state has to redo their entire unemployment software, which if anybody thinks that's easy, look at healthcare.gov, which was like 2 years in the process and bombed within the first couple months. So this is not something that people should be relying on thinking that anytime soon they're going to get it, but it's not an additional $600. I would have to say, I just can't imagine where that money would come from. What I'm thinking is that they're extending the maximum benefit by $600 so that they can give you a little bit more money. So you might have qualified for like $175 a week. And with this $600, you might qualify for like $240 for the period that they're going to do this. And so those are just made up numbers, but I'm thinking that they're adding money to the fund so right now in the state of Kansas, the most you can make is, I think it's like $488 or $466. I know it's a double number.
Is that a
so
week?
if you make if you make $40,000, you make so much money. But when you hit $50,000, the most you can make is $488 a month. I mean, $488 a week. So take $488 a week times 52 to get your salary there. All right, come on, Tyson. Nerd.
Oh, well, that's a lot. Oh, no, it's not a lot. So like 1,300. Oh, this shouldn't be hard. Just but take it times 100 and about half of that. So you said what? 4,800?
$488 times 52. 488. So it'd be like 500 times 50. What's that?
Like only 25,000?
25,000. That. So they make $50,000 a year. They bring home $25,000. If you make $60,000 a year, you currently bring home $25,000. If you make $90,000 a year, you make $25,000.
Right.
This $600 is going to allow that number to go up to maybe if you make $60,000, now you make $30,000. Something like that. I would have to say that's how it's going to work. So
devil's in the details, and you'll be talking about that.
I'll be talking about that more, but when you've got people who are going to work every day and they're like, this ain't no fair. These people are going to sit home and they're going to get unemployment plus $600. That's more money than they've ever saw. Okay, well, first of all, why don't you think about what you're saying? Do you think the government's going to give someone making $7 an hour $50,000 a year? Here you go. Just sit at home. No. So anyway,
meaning it's not 600 extra a week.
Not 600 extra a week. It's that's because our government is so flipping rich. We all know that. They've just got money.
Also known as broke as any government has ever been in the history of the planet.
And then you got the $1,200 and everybody's like thinking that they're going to get that. And they released it out and they're like, it should be like a week or two. That's going to be a cluster right there.
So you're just talking the general
stimulus package. Yeah, it's going to be horrible. Horrible.
So it's going to get here, but it's like, just don't, put your eggs in one basket as far as the timing. Is that what your point is or what?
No, what my point is if you've moved and you didn't give them your bank account. So a lot of people are very paranoid. They don't want the IRS to have their bank account. So it's not a direct deposit. They just get a check in the mail. But if you moved in the last year that you filed your taxes, that's where your check is going to go. And do you know what checks do not get forwarded? Government checks. So it's going to go back to the IRS. And checks are already going to take up until September to get out, if not October, November, because the first thing they're going to do is direct deposit. So let's just imagine this scenario. You and your husband and your 3 beautiful children file your...
You got me wrong, Kim.
You don't have a beautiful husband?
No, don't have a beautiful husband.
So you have it and you filed your taxes. You filed your tax return in 2019 in March. And guess what? You moved out. It didn't work out. But that tax return is where the one spouse lives and it's their bank account. You move out and the IRS is going to send that person all the money, not yours. Now, here's the deal. What if you have custody of the kids? What if you're supposed to do it? By the time this money comes out, I mean, people file for their 2019 taxes. They file together because they were together in 2019 and that's the way they filed. But in 2020, the entire situation could be different and they're just going to deposit it in your bank account. So good luck getting that. So anyway, that's the $1,200 thing. And it just don't rely on it. And then it's also, I don't know how it's getting paid. I don't understand where we're coming out being able to give everybody an additional $1,200.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's not all adults, but on the other hand, parents get more than the $1,200 because for their kids, I mean, in total, it's not like 2 parents only get $2,400.
Yep. No, they get the $500. I think up to 3 kids. I don't think it'll be like you get you have your 9 kids.
So it's not $1,200 for every man, woman, and child.
No, it's $500 for the kids. Yeah,
it's still some decent amount. If you average it out over the population, you go, that's probably where a lot of the 2 trains come in. I mean, I say that it's actually, if it's about 1,000, which that's a little high, but if it was about 1,000, well, 330 million people right there. I mean, not everybody's a taxpayer, but you could still guess.
No. You only get the money if you make less than 99,000.
Yeah.
And
but 90% of people make less than that. So,
but if you make more than 75,000, you get less than 1,200.
Right. Well, so I just said if you just kind of figure,
so
just the first rough estimate would be $1,000 times and then you'd have to bring it down times the population, right. 340 million, 340 billion, but then only take about 70% of that or something like that. I don't know. So you're still talking 260 or something like that. Just from this quote stimulus after they
and I don't know if it's 75,000 per person and 150 a couple, and if it's 75 a person, because I think it's 150,000 per couple. So there's a lot of couples could be totally screwed because one spouse might make a little bit more than the other one, and then that other one puts them over top of it. So right. I don't know. Anyway, it's government money, so please
It's made
don't
up.
wait for it. And then what you need to figure out is how you're going to pay it back, because we're the only ones that pay to do this. So at some point it's going to have to come back. So anyway, there's that. So another thing is I try to go outside and walk because my gym is closed. And so last week I went for a walk on like Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, or Sunday and Monday, I don't know. And I passed multiple people, and probably about like, I don't know, about 20 people, walking out with like 2 people at a time. And when I walk by someone, I always wave or I go, hi. And normally they'll at least acknowledge me. Last week, 2 people of the people I said hi to, and there's a lot, even acknowledged me. The rest of them just had this look on their face like I was the plague, which was really weird to me because my neighborhood, I've lived here for 34 years and it's never been that way. But this week I went out for my walk and all but one person said hi. Like the whole demeanor of everybody was a little bit more like relaxed. And
why do you think that would be?
Well, I think because at some point they're scared. I think people are getting to the point where they're just sick of this. Like, you know what? At some point you're just like, if I get it, I get it. I'm tired of you telling me what to do. So I think people, and we're also telling everybody that it's about to hit a peak and it's going to plateau and life is going to get back to normal. I think they're hearing a little bit of hope maybe. But then my friend Dan was out for a walk and he said everybody was didn't look very nice. So if you guys are out walking, just be nice. Oh. All right. So then I have one thing, and then we're going to tell some dirty jokes because one of my clients told me 2 dirty jokes, and I got to tell you the jokes. But my daughter, she is just like me. I am a fixer. And so when I go into businesses, I'm always working. And when something doesn't go right, I always make sure that the management knows that something didn't work right. And my daughter is the exact same way. Now, back when she was a child, she would always be like, Mom, can you call and make it right? And that's what I would do. So she watched what I did. Well, she's kind of inherited it from me. So when she goes, and this is for good or bad, but normally when something's not working correctly, you really need to let them know. Don't yell or scream at them. The lady at the drive-through window is not the person who developed a system. So my daughter and her husband went to online to the Wendy's app. Wendy's has a new app because everybody's doing the drive-through, carry out, and all that stuff. And there was a coupon on there for a free sandwich. And they ordered a meal. So they got a sandwich and they got this and they got that. And they clipped the coupon to get a free sandwich. Went to the drive-through, picked up their food, drove, on the way home. And my daughter looks in the bag and she's like, we didn't get the free sandwich. And her husband is not, he doesn't like to like to have any kind of conflict whatsoever. And she was like, we need to go back. And he was like, no, we don't.
WWKD.
Exactly. And so she calls me and she's like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I said, she goes, I've called the restaurant 10 times and no one will answer the phone. I've been calling all day long so that I could at least tell the manager that we didn't get our sandwich. And I'm just wondering if the app doesn't work because it's a new app. And I said, email them. So she goes, I'm going to do it. So she emails Wendy's corporate and she gets a response. And it's just we are so sorry that you had this experience and we're going to give you a hamburger. And she replies back and she goes, I think that's a stupid answer. She goes, because now I know that I'm talking to a bot, meaning their customer service
You're not actually fixing anything.
Isn't even a real person. It's an automatic. You sent it in. It read what I said. It saw that there was a complaint. It sent me a free sandwich. So she sends it back. She's like, I think this is stupid, blah, blah, blah. You didn't even help answer my question. And she said what she did, and it replies back to her, still a bot. So my daughter puts on there, hey, bot, this and that for the bot. And then she put bot. And she just kind of was sarcastic through her email. And she finally got a real person.
Is that like when you're angry and you're on the voice thing and you just go, I just scream at it, operator.
Exactly.
Let's press 3 for operator.
I just like
I know you're listening. So go operator. And eventually goes, please hold for the operator. It's like,
well, she got the email and they said,
except an email version of it.
Right. And so she goes, they responded back to her and they said, what exactly is your problem? Blah, 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 blah. We apologize. What's going on? So she replied back. Well, they replied back to her and they said,
my email said,
she said, on our app, you have to purchase the sandwich, put it in your cart, then you clip the coupon and it will credit the sandwich out of the cart. And my daughter replied back and she goes, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is not how any other apps work. It didn't even give me a warning that said, you don't even have the sandwich in your basket. There was nothing there. And when I hit the button, I assumed that it was just giving me the free sandwich like every other fast food app I have.
So she did a regular order as well? She ordered
her food and then she clipped the coupon to get the free sandwich because you had to buy a sandwich to get a free sandwich. And you get a free, I don't know what sandwich Wendy's has because it's brand new breakfast, but it was a breakfast, I believe. So let's just say it was a sausage biscuit. So she clipped the coupon for the sausage biscuit, but what the girl told her, or the guy, whoever it was, said, well, you had to pick sausage biscuit, add it to the cart, and then hit the coupon, and then it would credit off the sausage biscuit.
Totally intuitive.
Chelsea was like, that's dumb. So today she calls me. She goes, Mom, guess what? No, first of all, I'm sorry. I'm going to back up. They gave her a second free sandwich. So now she's got 2 free sandwiches. She calls me today and she goes, Mom, I went to the Wendy's app, and you know what it does now? It says, when you click the coupon, it says, you do not have that item in your basket. Please add. And it now tells people that that's not in there. So Chelsea's like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't me that got it fixed, but at least I know that they know that there was a glitch because I really doubt that that's what they expected to have to do.
Right.
Is for someone to understand you have to buy the sandwich and then you're going to put a coupon. The coupon should just say, give me the free sandwich. Right. And so now it actually tells them. So I was pretty excited about that. So anyway. All right.
In Kimmy's footsteps.
You never think your kids are really paying attention. And this is good or bad because she likes to say the F word a little bit too much. So that's where I failed.
I think you told me like just last week. I didn't say it very much.
Oh,
that was. Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
You're like,
you got the wrong Kim. I don't know what you're talking about.
That must have been the other person that you talk to all the time. Because I have to hold back because that's just my fun word. I like the F word. It's a fun word.
I didn't until I was in the Navy. Then I'm like, okay, so every part of the sentence then? Yep, every part of it. Check it out.
Exactly.
You can make a whole sentence.
You have to
just add like one other article somewhere in there, and you're good to go.
So, all right. So one of my clients was over and picking up her paperwork. And she goes, can I tell you a joke? And I said, sure. She goes, it's my Southern joke. And I said, okay. She goes, so there's 2 fine Southern belles. And she said, they're sitting there and one of the Southern belles looks at the other one. She goes, do you see that car over there? That Porsche? That's my car. Isn't it beautiful? And the other Southern girl looks at her and goes, Why, yes, it is. Oh, you see that horse over there? That horse is magnificent. It's beautiful. Don't you think my horse is beautiful? She said, why, yes, it is. She goes, oh, and look over there at that house. Mommy and Daddy bought me that house. Ain't it beautiful? And she said, why, yes, it is. And she said, well, I heard that you got to go to one of those fancy schools. She goes, why, yes, I did. And she said, can you tell me what you learned at that fancy school? And she goes, I learned to say, isn't that nice? Instead of fuck you.
Someone else has it.
And I was like, oh my gosh. She goes, I apologize for that word, but it's really necessary because it's part of the joke. And I said, oh, that's funny. And she goes, but I got to tell you another one. And I said, okay. She goes, it's kind of dirty. I was like, oh, I like dirty jokes. She goes, so two girls are sitting at a bar and the girl says, so do you have a boyfriend? And the one girl says, I don't have a boyfriend. I have 3 boyfriends. He said, what do you mean 3 boyfriends? How does that work? And she goes, well, I mean, I like a little variety. She goes, but how do you keep 3 boyfriends straight? She says, well, I give them a nickname. She goes, well, what kind of a nickname do they get? And she goes, I like to name them after soda pops. Soda pops. She goes, yeah. Take, for instance, 7-Up. She goes, 7-Up? He goes, oh, yeah. He's 7 inches and he's always up. Oh, my. She goes, well, what about your second one? She goes, oh, I call him Mountain Dew. Because he can mount and do me any day. She says, and what about the third one? And she goes, oh, I call him Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels? That ain't a soda pop. That's a hard liquor. Exactly.
Oh boy. Now rub your, remember when we were kids and you would take your pointer finger and you'd rub it with the other pointer finger? Naughty. Naughty. Hard liquor. That's a good one. Jack Daniels.
But let me tell you, before you tell us your jokes, I'm going to tell you my joke. Take a drink. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you my joke that it was the joke of all of the 70s. So a little girl comes home from school and she said, and her daddy says, how was your day at school? And she goes, oh, it was just fine. And he said, did you have any trouble walking home from school? And she goes, no, I stopped in the park and I was playing. And Jimmy came over and said he'd give me $1 if I'd climb up that tree. Okay. She goes, so I got myself a crisp $1. And she was like, okay. Next day, little girl comes home from school. Honey, how was your school? Oh, it was just fine. We learned so much. Well, did you have a good walk home? I did. I stopped at the park and little Johnny gave me $2 if I would climb up that tree. He said, that's interesting. So third day, daughter comes home. Dad says, so how was school today? Oh, it was fun. We had so much fun. And he said, how was your walk home today? He goes, oh, he gave me $3 to climb up that tree. He goes, honey, I hate to tell you this, but they're only doing it to see your underwear. Oh, no, that's not true. He goes, honey, it is. It is. You need to be careful. So the fourth day, Dad says, honey, how was your school today? He goes, oh, it was fabulous. I got this and I won that and I got an A on my paper. And she said, well, how was your walk home? She goes, well, Johnny wanted to give me $5 to climb that tree. And she goes, well, did you climb that tree? And she goes, well, yeah, Daddy, look, I got my $5. And he goes, honey, I said he just wants to see your underwear. And she goes, yeah, that's where I fooled him. I didn't wear any today.
He's like, I got my $5 worth. Oh, my Lord. So that's the one that you said, is that the one that you said you're going to warn me that was your fun little dirty joke?
That was my, like, when I was a kid, that was my dirty joke.
I didn't wear any underwear.
Didn't wear any today, Daddy.
Well,
oh my gosh, my dad was a jokester.
My dad had some dirty ones too. I think that as the son, instead, I got some of the more dirty ones than what my sister would hear. But we won't go into any of those. We don't want to besmirch his character or anything. And I'm not remembering any off the top of my head, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now, what's this thing about on the rundown about enchiladas?
Oh, yes. So one of my clients who wanted the PPP loan had not gotten me an entire year's worth of statements, which if anyone knows how much you have to reconcile for 12 months of one of their bank accounts, it was about like 9 hours worth of work. And they needed the report the next day, by the end of the day. So when the husband showed up with the 12 months of bank statements, they had made me homemade enchiladas.
Nice.
And he was like, they're really good with beer. I was looked around. I was like, did you bring me beer? And he was like, funny. I was like, no, I'm being serious. Like, if they taste good with beer. So needless to say, they got their reports because I was up till 1:30 in the morning reconciling. And then I got up and reconciled the next day. And they got everything they needed because I'm a rock star when it comes
to with enchiladas. Rock star with enchiladas.
Well, they're gone now, but they were so good.
Well, you're doing that right then too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I've got some. I decided to go against the dirty jokes, although I do have one. Should I tell my one dirty joke first, or my dad jokes?
Tell your dirty joke.
Okay, I get very nervous about. See, it's better. It's easier for me to be just kind of funny and silly than it is to tell jokes. I'm probably going to get this wrong. So there's this guy. He's incredibly well hung. Talking 25 inches. So remember that, 25 inches. All right. And so he goes to the doctor, says, it's too much, man. It's too much. I mean, I can't even use, well, I don't want to get graphic, but it's too much. And he goes, there's nothing I can do for you. There's just nothing. I mean, we supplement, but we never done a reduction before. I'm not your guy, but there's nothing I can do. He goes, yeah, but doctor, I really need to get rid of most of this. I mean, it's 25 inches, doc. So he goes, well, I'm not usually into this, but why don't you go? I have been to New Orleans, and there are some voodoo folks down there, and I've heard similar claims, which I don't know that I believe, but you got a problem, go there. So he goes to New Orleans to a voodoo queen, and the voodoo queen says, what you need to do is go to the swamp and find a female frog and ask the female frog to marry you. Every time she says no, you'll lose 5 inches. I don't know where that recipe came from, but it's voodoo, It's kind of weird. So he goes to the swamp, finds a female frog, asks her if she'll marry him. No. And all of a sudden, his member is only 20 inches. He goes, well, that really worked, but 20 inches. John Holmes would be embarrassed next to me. So it's probably still too much. So he goes back to the frog and he goes, would you marry me? And she goes, no. And all of a sudden, pop, only 15 inches, only. Have you ever heard that before? That's a new sentence. All the time. Anyway, so he goes, yeah, but still, 10 is a lot, and I've got 50% more than that. So, I'm going to go back and ask one more time. So he goes back and asks the frog, says, seriously though, will you marry me? And the frog says, for the last time, no, no, no. Not what he's going for. Anyway, my sister just told me that the other day, or I wouldn't. She's still giggling on camera.
That's so funny.
And I was like, hey, Doc, can you do that other thing? So anyway, so now to balance, we have some. I like the 1-a-day calendars. Like last year, I had you had one job. They're just different things, like pictures where people clearly screwed up something badly. This year, I just decided to switch it up, and some of those were kind of off, a little bit. What do you say? Off color? That's not right. For work, a little bit not safe for work. So I'm like, I want another one. I got one, and it's a dad joke calendar, but it's really more like just kind of bad puns. So I'm just going to read a few of these. You ready?
I'm ready.
Why did the octopus blush? It just saw the bottom of the ocean. Okay. Feel like David Letterman over here. Remember, like it's kind of thrown off the side.
Yep.
Okay. Why did the clown wear loud socks? So his feet wouldn't fall asleep. All right. How was Rome split into two? With a pair of scissors. I think I have had bad posture, but it's just a hunch. The thing about bad humor is if you laugh, it kind of adds to how stupid it is. And this one's a little bit more nerdy. Have you heard of the band 999 Megabytes? They haven't got a gig yet.
That is nerdy.
When does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. We won't be here all week. And actually, I have a whole stack over here because, 3 months into it, it's like, this is better than I thought it would be by now. I just thought it'd be total just lameness. And some of them are like, yeah, it's actually still pretty good. Okay, so my other jokes are this. Have you heard of, you remember the, your mama's so fat? You remember those jokes?
Oh, yeah.
Your mama's so ugly. Okay, so I'm wondering, I might have to, because I thought of these earlier. I've made up these jokes.
Oh, no.
And they're also going to be appropriate for what we're going to be doing here after the jokes. But can we pause this so I can practice them again for a second and then restart?
No.
No. No. Okay, let me look at my phone.
You're a professional. You are a professional.
I'm not a professional comedian. All right, let's see here.
Well, it's not like anybody but me can see it.
I kept the idea, but okay, which one was it? Okay. So this one is inspired by a true story. All right. Let me see if I can do this. So it's not your mama's so fat. It's just something along that style. Hold on. Jim Gaffigan, I'm not. All right, let's see. Live. Your house so small, when you work remotely from home, your first computer monitor is in the kitchen and your second computer monitor is in the living room.
That's a good one.
Well, that's the one that's actually inspired by a true story because that's true. I'm starting to work remote this week, and at least during the first half of the day, and I'm using my TV as my second monitor, and I have a cutout between rooms, like a little cutout. And so we're in my kitchen right now, and my second monitor is my living room TV. Your house so small. Okay, let me see if I can think of the other one. Hold on. Give me a second.
That was a good one.
Okay. Your house so small when you work. Your house so small when you work remote from home and got to leave a meeting to take a crap. It only take you 20 seconds to come back.
Crap and bag almost rhyme.
Yeah, the thing is though, wouldn't like wiping even like already? And anyway, that's totally not true because I don't eat that many prunes, so it's actually that's not a true joke.
But also, you have to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. So.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see. I got one other one I made up. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Your house so small, when you work remote from home and need better light for your paperwork, you just use a lightning bug. That's A, really small, but then 2, also no windows apparently. Because
the cough.
Anyway, I just like the idea that style is like, oh, by the way, I'm very white.
Right.
I just love the idea that idea is adjusted to working remotely from your home. When you work remotely from home. So those are my silly jokes. And now we can go on to our next thing, which is talking about working from home.
So did you start working from home on Monday?
Yeah, so it's totally new. I said before I'm in the public sector, but they weren't ready for the kind of equipment, scenario that we had the 2 weeks off, and there's just not that kind of equipment available for use or lease that quickly. So they'd asked us about halfway into the time off what our computer situations were. So right now, it kind of depends on if you're working on something that's confidential, like people's information, then you're not going to be able to work from home unless you have that specific equipment. But our team does not. Our team works with only information that's publicly available.
Right.
So therefore, it's okay to use your computer. There's not the kind of confidentiality issues there would be if you're in some system where you're keeping track of people's information. So we've got a 6-member team, and 2 people are 100% at home. One of those people have an office machine, so an office laptop, so they can access all their regular stuff. The other person does not. She's 100% at home, but she has to do it via, like the online version of everything, Office 365. And so we're working through that. And then 2 of us are working half days and just alternate the half days. We work 8 hours, but half days at the office, half days at home, and just one person works at the office in the morning, the other person works at the office in the afternoon. Then 2 other people are full-time there, but they're kind of separated. So it just gives space. So yeah, I did start this week, and it's quite interesting. I'll be interested in what you have to say. And then I'm sure I'll have my little observations as, a person who's doing it for the first time. I've always kind of wanted to work from home, but never had the opportunity. I can tell you early on, it's still just really trying to get the space and getting used to. I felt really good the first day or 2, but I was kind of in the mode of being tech support to help people understand how they could use these remote applications, which is something I really enjoy. It's like just figuring out, oh, here's how you can do this. I mean, you're not used to this Office 365, but you can make it do this, and you can sync it. And so I look into it and then help people figure it out. And so I'm kind of tech support. But as far as my regular job, I haven't really got back into the swing of things yet. And we're now 3 days into doing this. So I just don't know that it does feel weird. It didn't feel awful, but I've definitely got some adjusting to do. So I'll be interested in your hints.
Well, I've worked from home since 1990 when I did home daycare and all that kind of stuff. And I've had different assignments where I have to go someplace and work in an office, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, whatever, just depending on which contract that I'm on. But I just went basically full time since when I quit my other job. I used to go in there a couple days a week. I'm going on like 2 years now. And so I just work out of my house. And what I've realized is I needed to make my office just my office, because when you're working as much as I do, you have to disconnect from the work. And that's why I'm upstairs right now, because when I walk downstairs, I've got so much work to do. It just hits you. It's like, because and it's not every day this happens, but currently right now with everything that's going on, when I walk down there, it's overwhelming. You can feel the work on it. So,
right. So the separation really is mentally good for you, which like I don't have right now. So my issue is that I've got only a laptop, and the other issue, which is really stupid, if I was, working professionally from home, first of all, I presumably would have a machine. But like my laptop has been basically a small desktop forever because I don't have a battery in it that works. And
Right.
So if it accidentally gets unplugged, bye-bye. So you can't move it easily between, oh, well, this is where I usually lounge around in the living room. And then this is where I work because I got to worry about unplugging it and this and that. So right now I don't have that where it's two separate things. And since I put it over here for work purposes, I have, when we were chatting or something, I was over here on it. But to your point, it's still, but for me, it's a little bit different than you because when I'm done at a certain time, I'm not salary.
Right.
Most of the state employees are not. And so I'm not salary. And so when it's done, it's done. But for you, it could be different because like, man, you're trying to, how quickly can I get through this? Do I want to work on this a little bit more? So I can totally see that you would want that stress separation. Like this is my quiet place and this is my productivity, but not only for the negative aspect, of avoiding that negativity, but also for the positive of this is where I work.
Right. Yeah. You have to make sure that you understand as a person that this is your job. And so without feeling as if you have a job, it doesn't make you have a lot of a mental, it's a mental thing. And so when I had to get a new floor for my basement, because it was kind of a living area and I had my desk down there. When I got a new floor, that's when I said to myself, this is just an office. At probably no point of any day is anybody going to come downstairs unless it's like a hot day upstairs. I'd go down there. It's cooler to watch TV. But I'm not going to hang out down here. So I got rid of a chair and moved the couch over. I've got my TV and stuff in there. And it's just a calming area. Like it's a beautiful space. It's not huge by any means, but because when people think of a basement, it's not that big of a basement. So yeah, so I did that. Another thing
but wait a second, you're just saying split, but you're also saying you will use the other half of that area. It's just, you know what, I'm at work, but this is my break area, or
no,
is it just so that you feel? Is that what you're talking about? You got a couch and stuff.
Well, the couch is for when like I'm sitting there and I have a meeting with somebody, and we're just kind of like I can get my thing and I can use my laptop, and then we can kind of have a casual conversation as opposed to sitting at my desk and them sitting in another chair, and like the way that we do our podcast. Sometimes you just want to kind of go over to the couch area and I can bring my laptop and I can help them over there. It's more calming to sit over there, kind of
more of like a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guest and client. It's just another setting. Yeah. I got
Right. So I have that down there as well. And it's also when I have, when I do have more than one or two people come, then I need a place for them to sit. And normally they don't need to interact with me. So like when they bring their kids over or something, I put a cartoon on and the kids are over on the couch and they're fine. So, but I found that considering that as of the beginning of 2019, I doubled my clients. So I used to have like 9 clients. And then I did multiple jobs. I bartended and I was a substitute teacher. But in 2018, I decided that I was going to go full out business development and accounting and my marketing and that businessy stuff. And so I stopped the bartending and I stopped everything. And then I increased my clients to about 16. And I currently have 22 of them now. And I just got 2 new ones this week. So it's a lot of work. And so I feel a lot better because before I had so much time on my hands. And now I'm stressing out because I want that time on my hands, which, I mean, if anybody looked at my schedule, you'd be like, oh, look at you. There goes some motorcycles are going by. I needed my own space. And so that's why my laptop, I can log in to my downstairs computer. So if I'm up here and I'm watching TV and one of my clients texts me, I know that I can't go downstairs because if I go downstairs to to send them a file, I'm going to check my email. And then there's going to be 3 things for me to do. And it will totally suck me in to another 2 hours of work. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning.
Because there's this false, it's the same issue. It's like an extension of the issue of being salaried instead of wage. Because salaried means, hey, yeah, you're going to sometimes work till 7, whatever, you're getting paid more. And so with that, then before you know it, you're the one, because you're salaried, who have the phone. And then because you have the phone, the smartphone or the tablet at home, you tend to look at it then you're really creating your own problem if you don't set those limitations, or if you want to say, if you don't interpret when what kind of level of urgency is on each one.
Correct.
So you've got to know, as far as I understand, because that it's can this wait till tomorrow? And anything in your email, if they really needed to, and they emailed you and you didn't see it last time you checked in at the end of the day, it can wait till tomorrow. That's a wage type of a scenario. So you've got the same issue, because some people might text you for urgency, and then all of a sudden you start going and looking at other things. Yeah, I understand it.
It's really hard. And my clients, when they send me an email, if it's something that I need to look at, they know that they have to text me, because I don't go to my email. I hate email. Every time I open up my email, it's like 10 hours of work in my email. I'm like,
That's one of the productivity things from that Timothy Ferriss book is don't try to just roll the, swirl the email bowl just to do it, because sometimes that just means you get more emails.
Right.
And you don't stick back to what you really need to do and focus on. You kind of create more.
And so they text me. They'll be just like, send you a text.
That's a smart separate. That makes sense to me.
And they're told, if it's important, you need to say, this is really important. And it needs to be important. And my clients are amazing, because they've been asking me for all these different reports, and they're always like this: I know you're so busy. When you can get around to it, I really need it today. But if you can't get it today, I'm fine. And I'm like, I'll get it to you. But they appreciate me. I appreciate them. So that's the one thing.
But again, though, if you've built that, don't, because that would be that way. That'd be something I'd have to work on, is to, I maybe to be too apologetic about taking the usual proper amount of time, and I'd try to hurry it, so you got to be careful not to, just because they said, well, this can wait, but if you can get to it today. Well, they said it can wait. So sometimes you don't always want to make sure that the ones that they said can wait always get done that day anyway, right? So isn't that a weird balance for you?
So here's a situation, because it is tax season. So I do have a second office, because I work for a CPA doing taxes. And so today I'm in my office at the CPA firm. One of my clients sends me a text message and says, I need my 2018 tax return. And I said, well, I'm not home right now, so I will send it when I get home. He said, okay, well, let me look through my email, because I know you've sent it to me probably 10 times, and maybe see if I can find it. And I was like, okay. And I continued to work. Then I get a phone call, but I'm talking to someone, so it goes to voicemail. They send me a text. I need my FEIN number. I've got a 1 o'clock appointment today with the bank, and they said I have to have a sheet with it on it. And then I'm like, well, and so I responded back, which bank? And he told me, and I go, well, tell them they're stupid. I've never opened a bank account where you need the letter from the IRS. That's absolutely dumb. But I need that stupid bank account open, because I can't pay his payroll taxes till we get that bank account open. So I logged into my home computer from my other work computer, and I found it in his file, and I sent it to him. All of 5 minutes to get it to him, because he needs that thing. Now, mind you, I've emailed it to him before, but he didn't find it. Okay. Well, while I'm there, I just went and I emailed, because I just sent a second email and just said, here's your 2018 return. And then I texted him and said, I just sent it to you. The first thing wasn't as important to me, unless they would have said, my banker needs it today, because we are on deadlines. So I can log into my computer, but I was doing something else, and that went to the back burner. But then when I know that he's got an appointment at 1 o'clock and that he can't find the form, I'll take the 5 minutes and I'll help him and do what I can. Because I don't have certain days that I work for my people, and I don't have certain times really. They just know to leave me alone when I say, please leave me alone. And it's kind of a mutual thing. So anyway, the second thing is planning out your day. Everything needs to be scheduled. Now, I don't know about your job, but my job has deadlines because taxes are due on the 15th or taxes are due on the 25th. But I don't want to be doing anything on the 14th that's due on the 15th. So what I'm getting ready to currently do once tax season is over, I don't know if you saw all my books, but I'm doing a huge purge of organization and mental reset is what I call it. And so actually what I'll do is I'm building a book, and it will have all my papers for the year in it, including my daily schedule. And I will have to fill that daily schedule out because I actually fill it out like 9 to 10:30, I'm at the gym. 10:30 to 11, I do this. 11 to 11:45, I do this. 11:45 to this, I do this. And I skip a little bit of time to give myself, but I really go by that schedule.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
smart.
If I say I'm going to spend an hour reconciling company A, and someone calls me, sends me a text message, then I just write it down on the bottom of that list. Like, I have to do this as well, but I don't stop and do it, because what I would do is I would normally just go, well, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. So I would stop what I'm doing and I would do it.
And then your schedule's not worth it.
So much time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're not being consistent. So now I write it down and I schedule in about 15 minutes throughout my day. Where normal people would go take a smoke break, I schedule in extra work breaks, meaning, I have to 15 minutes. But if it's like...
By breaks, you mean break from my scheduled work so I can do unscheduled work.
Unscheduled work, exactly. That's what I do, because I'm not taking a break, because my breaks are when I go on vacation. My breaks are when I get to take the whole day off and not have to work. My break is when I have 1 week every month that I don't have to work. That's my goal, is 1 week, the last week of every month, I don't want to work. Yeah. Nothing. I don't want to do anything.
The exact thing, it's like, it's hard to get to. And if you don't get to it, then you end up just kind of working, by the seat of your pants. And before you know it, the stuff that was the least pleasant to do is the thing that you've done that you've not gotten to, and you found a bunch of other distraction jobs. So the idea of just, okay, this hour is this. It's not this plus something else that comes up because I'm looking in my email sometimes.
Right.
I mentioned him more than once, but that's a total Tim Ferriss 5-hour work week, a 4-hour work week concept. Work on the thing you're working on.
Correct.
Don't kind of work on it, but then keep your ear out to multitask and, look, there's an email. I can answer that real quick, because why not? It only takes a little while to answer. Yeah, but if you do that, 20 other distractions, you haven't been focusing on thing you're going to focus on. So what do you do? What do you do when it doesn't take an hour? So you've got an hour schedule.
I start the next schedule. So I start the next thing. So because something might take a little bit longer. So if I schedule an hour to reconcile and it goes till 1 and it's 12:45, I move on to the next thing. I have it all in pencil, so I'll erase it and I just change the times, and then I reschedule that. I literally reschedule everything.
Then you would just go, okay, starting at 12:45 to another hour.
12:45. Now I go to an hour. But if it's like, if I still have 20 minutes left to work and it is 10 till, and I know I have 20 more minutes, I will work my freaking fast as I've ever worked, because now it's become a challenge. I have to get it done. I have 10 minutes and I will not go over. So if I do not finish it, I have to write down at the bottom, finish company A reconciling, and I move on to the next thing, which keeps me focused because I don't want to have to write it down there. I don't want to have to go back and start it over. But I didn't give myself enough time, and I'm pretty good at knowing how much time everything is. I've done it so long. But sometimes it's like I can't reconcile, and it's not balancing. And I think to myself, you know what? It's 1 o'clock for a reason, because I need to let this go for a couple hours, and then when I come back, I'll find my mistake, or I'll find the mistake.
There's one You have what you can't do easily is like, you know what? I've looked at this until my eyes have gone dry. Can you just put a fresh set of eyes on it? Because you don't have that group
I don't
around
have
you.
that.
But
So,
there was a one, I always remember this because my supervisor said, man, too bad we don't do this. There's some article where it was ideally a person should work, it's around this time, I could be not exactly right on it, but work about 15 minutes and then take like 12 or 15 minutes off, like in a row, boom, boom, boom. And it's kind of the idea of, well, just, work for those 15 minutes and then that little break, and now you go back, you're ready to go. So it kind of reminds me of some of what you're doing.
It does, because I mean it's kind of weird sometimes how that happens, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this for a reason. So let's move on, and I'm going to do some other stuff, and I'm going to give this a rest, because I'm going to find the 83 cents. But right now, I've looked at it so many times, my brain is just it's messing with the numbers. So I leave that. And that is the most incredible thing, either my checklists and my daily schedule. And I fail on that during tax season, and I fail on that. Like, I get really good. It's just like a diet. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm just doing so good. And then I fall off and I go down and I'm just unorganized, and I'm just like, but I'm just, and I justify it. Not anymore. Like, after this is over, I've got all my books. I've got some amazing things that I have that I'm working on. I've got another person, and her and I are going to work on it together, just to get more professional. When you work at home, it is the hardest thing ever. People don't understand. Everybody's like, oh, I want to work from home. Well, a lot of people, when you're working from home, you're being monitored at your work. So if you're doing call center stuff, you're monitored. So you have to log in. That's your time clocked in. They can look at your computer and they know what you're doing, who you're talking to at all times. You're monitored. It's their computer. So you can't just get up and go do laundry like I can, or go, I think I'm just going to go for a walk right now. But I also can do that all day long and say to myself, I have tomorrow.
Right.
And that's what I do. Like tonight when I got home from work, I cooked dinner. I made a sandwich. I ate that. And then I thought to myself, I have to reconcile. But it is 6:45. I'm not working past 7 because I want to go to bed before 1 o'clock in the morning. So
what the concept? What the concept?
It's weird. If I didn't have a co-host that texts so late at night, I might get to bed early.
Yeah.
And then
I do deserve some of that blame, but you're a willing participant.
I am not the willing participant at 7:30 the last 3 mornings. When people are texting me, I'm like, okay, I get that you guys are all at home, but I stay up late, so stop texting me. So, but anyway, so that's my biggest thing is working from home and realizing that it's very great, but you have to do extra things to make yourself a professional. Now, a lot of people want to get up and they're gonna do their hair, they're gonna put on their clothes, they're gonna put on their makeup. Oh, hell no. That is not happening unless I have to do a video that's live. I don't wear makeup anyway, so I don't need to look my prettiest sitting in front of my desk all by myself.
Yeah, so maybe when it's new, until people have got that. I mean, because that's one I've heard too, is you go ahead and get dressed just like you normally would, like you're going to go into work. It's like I couldn't just wear shorts and a tank top in the middle of summer. Not a good idea. Just you'll be too of a home mindset, and you don't want to do that. So put at least casual, and I get that, but I also get that some people could be past that, or they've worked at home for so long that they know when to switch it on and when to switch it off.
Well, and you do have to do that, because you can get sucked into it. There's times, especially in the winter, because I don't get to go outside. And like right now being, I don't have the option to get to do anything because we've been grounded for the last month.
Yeah. I'm going to do something. This is what we think about that.
Yeah.
But I only did a visual. So anyway,
I
go
agree.
ahead.
Yep. Me too. So I have to battle depression, and I have to battle, my inner demons to pull me down because I'm the biggest procrastinator. But I think when I schedule my week out, I'm stuck. Like, it's professional. I get up in the morning and I get my workout done and I start my day and I work very fast. So I don't need 8 hours to get 8 hours worth of work done. I need about 5 or 6. I can get just as much stuff done. I have to set a schedule. I have to say, it's stop. But during tax season, I don't have that option because I might have people that I'm consulting here till 9 o'clock at night. And then I can't just go to sleep. Like after we do the podcast, it could be 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I still have 2 hours of my brain having to shut down. So anyway,
so with that late night, which can happen, especially if it's a seasonal thing, but anybody who's salary and works at home could have the same issue. It's like, well, at dinner, you know what? I wouldn't mind just catching up and just grabbing a couple things so I don't have to worry about them tomorrow. All of a sudden, they're on that computer at 10:30 to 11:15, and they've been looking at what? Everybody, blue light. So you're going to do that. It's just for regular life and for that especially. Find that yellow light setting, not the blue light, because you do go to sleep quicker with that. I had a couple mechanical questions too for you. That's just more like.
Go for it.
Go ahead. I didn't know if you had a point there with that.
Nope.
So what's your, like when you, your screen situation? Is that because a lot of in corporate, I don't know. I mean, the last 2 corporate places I've been, double screens. It's really helpful. Do you go 2 screens? I
have 2 screens. Actually, I have 3 screens, but when my new video card came, it only allows 2 screens.
Yeah. So I like that, like keeping my email mostly in one window or the other, and then keeping my whatever app I'm working on, whether it's Excel or something like that, and the other. Alt tab is your friend, everybody. Alt tab is your friend, and hold it down so you can see. So, but that's where that joke came from. It's like, all of us are like, man, this. So the boss says, hey, it's a little bit harder, with your single screens. And I'm like, you can do double screens. So I actually told everybody that, but I don't have like an old monitor, but I do.
I'll let you use mine.
Yeah.
It works.
So I have one, but it doesn't have the cord right with it. So I'd have to, how we all have like all the old cords, like the power cord setting somewhere. And you're like, well, where is it? So anyway, I was using my TV, and I honestly, it hasn't really worked yet. I just thought, you know what? I wonder if it would at least reach.
Right.
So I got to so what I often do, so I don't have to turn on wireless internet, because I'm not big on that. I'll use wireless, but I'm like, hey, I don't have to have wireless on all the time. It's not great to have all the extra waves in the air. So I just bought a long VGA, and my flat screen is old enough that it has the VGA input. So you can just go, so I'll, just use that as a second screen and be watching Netflix over there. So because of that, I can always I'm already using it as a computer second screen. I'm just picking the source of PC instead of TV or whatever, Chromecast. So, I tried that, but yeah, just remember those second screens are available. But the thing is, if you have a work laptop, you're probably good because you can use an HDMI out and you've got one screen already, and then you have that second screen. But if you're at home and it's a desktop already, it's a little bit more complicated because you got to get a little bit different adapter to make a second screen.
Right.
A laptop will have just that video out already, for like projectors and the like.
Yeah. Now, I could never go back to one screen. And I have 3 screens at the CPA office, and I have to have that too, because I have to have 2 different years worth of tax returns up so I can review the previous year to make sure. And then I've got the other one that has the internet so I can look up and find the stuff that I need. Plus I also have to have my music playing. So
what do you do about just activity? Like what is the things that you do and don't allow yourself to do in order to kind of keep on task, where it is kind of a regular thing? Like, well, you don't have a pet. So that's like, I'm like, I wonder what Guinness is doing. My cat, I don't know. What kind of limitations do you put on, if any, about, let me go upstairs and just drop all it's weird because I'm not upstairs, downstairs. I'm just right in the middle of everything. And this is not a studio, but it's not a big apartment because I just don't need much. So, it's hard not to just kind of be ready to walk around. It's really not a separate area. So what do you do to limit yourself? Is it just, if I stay downstairs, I'm good? Or how does that work?
Well, normally, so on Mondays, I don't leave my house. I get up in the morning, go to the gym, and I come home and I'm in my office all day. There's no appointments, there's no meetings, there's no nothing. Monday is my work day. And then Tuesday and Wednesday are normally meetings. So I would go out into the public and I would go meet with my people, do my meetings and all that kind of stuff. Then I come back and Thursday is another work day. So I'm back downstairs work day. And then Friday is clean house day.
So your
that is my
limitations
normal
barely
schedule.
is mostly just stay downstairs pretty much the whole time, except for lunch or something like that.
Yeah, I might come upstairs, but nope. I've never taken a break and I've never taken a lunch. At any of my jobs, I always go, can I just leave 30 minutes early? Because I don't need 30 minutes. I just don't work that way. And I definitely don't need a break just to go, I'm just going to sit here for 15. Because if I want to, then I'll get on Facebook for 15 minutes and do what I want, or I'll sit and text my friends, or I don't want to. I just want to get my work done because then I have a whole week of, I don't have to do any of it except my Monday.
So as to those limitations, you said you don't usually do that. So physically we've got that. Now what about, applications being on that are social media or the like, Twitter, or do you just kind of go, just float over there sometimes? Now I know the way I am, and I think most people are, and I guarantee one of my coworkers is, because I was helping her with, and she was sharing her screen and it was right up. I'm not going to put on Facebook from home. Now at work, I'm already there. I'm not putting Facebook on there either, but if I have my phone by me and someone sends me a Facebook message, maybe I'll answer it on the phone, but
that's if you have your phone, haven't lost it.
It's not, but I'm not at home. I could do that on this computer, so if you're an entrepreneur, it's your computer, you can do Facebook all you want. So what are your limitations with those types of, electronic, internet distractions?
So when I'm on my time schedule, there is no social media unless it's in my schedule.
Okay.
I mean, I have to, because you'll get sidetracked. That's 20 extra minutes. You'll get you get sucked into that stuff. So
that's why it's good, because you say, okay, no, it's not. You don't Facebook message me. You don't,
right.
You don't IM me. If you need it urgently, you text me.
Text me. Yeah. And if something comes up and it's work or whatever, I will reply back to them. I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you by the end of the day. And I write it down and I move on. But as to go to Facebook during the day, unless if I'm in the middle of something and I'm getting pissed, I can't figure it out, I will stop and I will let me just go look on Facebook really fast. I do go on there if I'm doing research and I've got a project going on that I really need to interact with, because Facebook is part of my job. So if that is happening, then Facebook is in my schedule to, hey, you need to go over and check and make sure you're liking and commenting back because you're doing something that's on Facebook, because Facebook is part of my marketing. So it would be.
So what is your general to make your working area workable, but also not wanting to make it too much like home? What do you do to kind of supply your area so that, there's that line, but it also, I'm going to say, make your working area livable, which is kind of seems reverse, but because it's at home, what do you do to kind of make, okay, this is how I create this environment that helps me, do this well? What are is there any I'll say perks, but that's not right. Just little creature comforts or little, do you have some snacks already to go? So you can
I got gobstoppers.
You got everlasting gobstoppers.
Everlasting gobstoppers.
And they really have lasted forever.
I do when I am, every once in a while, I've got a basket of snacks that I pre-portion out. And so sometimes I'll grab those and I'll throw those down there. But what I find is that if I put snacks down there, I'll eat all the snacks. So I do have those upstairs in a basket. And if I do get hungry, I'll stop what I'm doing. I come up and get a prepackaged snack, whether it's a little thing of tuna with some crackers. It's already pre-portioned out. I'll come up and get that, take it back downstairs.
So you would consider Go ahead. I know what my next question is.
So, but then as for my office is so much paper in it. It's just overwhelming with so many files and so much stuff. That's one of my things on my list is I got to get it reorganized because it's too much. There's just, when you walk in there, it's just kind of like, are you kidding me? And I mean, it makes me look like a slob, but they don't realize I've got 22 different companies that I'm trying to keep track of and maintain, and then add on another full time and a half job, and then add on, a coronavirus. Ugh. So, yeah.
So you don't, and then what kind of like total, workspace and area do you need or you go, listen, you're going to want to, you may not think you want to use this, but you're going to want it. I know obviously it depends on the job a little bit, but if you can apply that, lighting situation, desk situation, seating, whatever that might be.
Well, I have, I've got my desk, and I do have like 3 different, one of those little, like, I don't know, pole lights that have like 3 lights on it. I have that right next to my desk. I have to have a lot of light because dark does not work for me. So it's pretty bright down there. But I'm just a slob when it comes to that. I got piles and piles and piles. So
you have a lot of surface area to work with.
I do. After my floor flooded, I actually got 2 extra things that gave me more surface, and it's all full. I mean, it's full, and I've got racks.
But it still felt better.
It's still, oh my gosh. When I got rid of the chair and I pushed everything out and made it at least 50% bigger, it just became an office as opposed to this little space where I had a computer and 2 chairs for, it became an office. It's a very sloppy office, but it'll get better. I mean, I've only had it that way for less than a year, and I'm still trying to figure out what and how I want to do stuff, and I'll get there. I know.
So when you say you have an area down there that's kind of, okay, let's just sit over here casually, because some things just make better sense to kind of coordinate casually. You sit on the client, go ahead and sit on the couch, and I'll sit over on this chair, and we can chat, and or the kids are there. So when you have that, how big of a problem do you consider it to, well, I'm at home and I can focus, but some people like to have the TV on as background. They're not even really caring about
all the time
whether they really catch everything.
So I have the television on all day long. And so what I do is I normally pick some series that I've already watched. So I've been watching Andy Griffith since episode 1. It just plays in the background. I really couldn't tell you what happens. I do that with Matlock or Murder, She Wrote. I even got Boomerang for tax season. So Jetsons, Flintstones, Looney Tunes, they've been playing in the background, but it's more of a relaxation for my brain than it is for me to even know what's going on. So today at the CPA office, I had on my Pandora, I had the 50 top musical hits or something like that. And Les Miserables was playing one of their sad songs, and Kelly came downstairs and she goes, "Oh my gosh, that is such a sad song. Why are you listening to it?" I didn't even know it was playing because that's where my brain is. I'm concentrating on my stuff. So
I have a similarity. Like I'll listen to comedy on Pandora at work, but it needs to be something I've already listened to because that way it won't distract me. Once in a while, I can just put on some talk show or something like that. But usually it just distracts me too much.
Right.
So I'll put on concentration music. So your TV can be the same way. And that's the way, I have my shows where it's like, I'm pretty much sure I've seen this episode 30 times, but that's okay.
Me too.
And I kind of like watching the show anyway. So, okay. So you're okay with it just so long as the person knows, cause don't let it be new material. Because all of a sudden you don't want that to be, it's so casual. If it's something that just kind of, for me, Pandora and those types of things are just like, just make me feel, a little bit more cheerful about the day because they're making me crack up, but I've already heard them. They're funny, but they're not taking my brain power to really pay attention to begin with. So it's just something that kind of relieves some of the stress. But if I have to focus too much, I got to shut all that stuff off. Except there is like concentration music too.
Right.
You know, so I'll use that. So I was wondering about that. Now, what do you think about this advantage you can have at working at home where, hey, you know what, if I want to do, 20 body weight squats at the top of the hour, I can totally do it. Or I can just go walk up and down the stairs real quick, just 3 times, 4 times a day, that type of thing where you just work some kind of exercise that would seem goofy if you're in a cube farm. Do you do that?
No, but I think the whole purpose of working from home is to A, get your job done, but B, make yourself happier doing your job. And your job might not be a job that you is just like, this is the best job in the whole wide world, because I don't know how many people would be working from home going, I love this job. But to know that I'm getting my workout in, I'm making it different, I'm doing something different, as long as at the end of the day you got what you needed to get done, then it really doesn't matter how you make the day go by. And I do the exact same thing. There's going to be like, I go work out in the mornings, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to go work out at 1:00 this week. And I just schedule it in my schedule. I get up in the morning and I go downstairs and I work a little bit. And then at 12:45, I put on my workout clothes. I go work out from 1 to 2, come back home, and then I work till 6 or 7. I schedule it, and I just want to do, I do what I feel like I want to do. Reality is that it's my responsibility to get my job done. And so I want to have that freedom. And so I just do what I want.
So yeah, for you then the lesson for anybody who has that kind of freedom is where, you don't have to do those necessarily, the ones where, oh, it's top of the hour, let's do my little dips between the chairs. Instead, it can be just schedule your gym time and make it quick.
I did that when I worked at Let's Help. My lunch, we got a 30-minute lunch and we got 2 15-minute breaks. And so when I worked there, I left and worked out at the Y for 45 minutes for my lunch and my breaks. So it took me to get time there, get my clothes on really fast, go do like 20 minutes on the treadmill or whatever, then do my weights and my workout, put my clothes back on and get to work. And that's what I would do. That's what I did there, because that was my mental break. It just made me feel better. And so, yeah, you should be able to. Now, a lot of companies are very strict with you when you're working from home. It depends on the company that you're working at. But, there's also the thing is if you just have to get your work done and they're not timing you, and if you're not on a time clock and you have that ability just to get your work done, why not sit and get your work done and work till 8:00 at night while you're watching a television show, and then the next day not have to work as much, because you'd be like, oh, I could do that. So, if you're like in a call center and you're on that phone and you have to be on from 7 to 3:30 and they give you a 30-minute break and a 30-minute lunch and a 10-minute break, to me, that's not really working from home so much, because your schedule is pretty much set for you and you're not going to have a problem with it. You're just not going into work. But if you're truly working from home and it is your own schedule, you've got to be one super duper organized person. And you also have to realize that if you screw up, you're going to cost your clients a lot of money.
Yeah, it's more direct. It's more directly on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what about anything where you're like, you know what, people might not know this if they didn't. I'm talking about software or equipment. And I know you're more specialized, but there's still just some ways to work online and tools that are used more broadly that somebody may not know about, that you're like, you know what, I wouldn't have known about this. And when I found out, it's actually really helpful.
So I have 2 different remote softwares. I have Splashtop, which is amazing. It is affordable and it allows me to log into multiple customers' computers, because they actually have QuickBooks on their computers because they do their own billing at their house. So I can log into their computer through Splashtop, and I can get into their QuickBooks, and it's their computer. I see everything, and I've come on before going, oh, I'm sorry, I think I'll leave now.
Thank you. I'm going to have that window open.
But yeah, so I do that, but then it's called Go to My PC. And
Yep,
Go
heard
to
of
My
that one.
PC is where I don't have to have an app connected to a computer like Splashtop is. I can go to any computer, go to the web and type in Go to My PC, and then type in my password and type in some more codes. And I actually get into my downstairs computer like what I did today. So I could get those emails set out because I needed to get in there. So that's how I can travel all over the place, because I take my laptop and I do Go to My PC, and I'm now sitting downstairs in my office on my laptop.
Right.
So those have to be the two best.
Say the first one again.
Splashtop.
Splashtop. So both of those are really, you're just saying, I'm getting remote access to other computers, either my clients or mine as necessary.
Yeah.
And what are the costs on?
Well, that's what I was going to
those?
say. Splashtop is like, like $150, $180 a year. And Go to My PC is like $350. But the Go to My PC is what I use for my job, so it's worth it. The Splashtop is where once a month I'm going to log into your computer and do payroll and reconcile your QuickBooks and all that kind of stuff.
So you said about $350? Is that what you said for Go to My?
It can be expensive, yeah.
There was another. Oh, what about like client? This, I don't mean for this to sound condescending, but I can imagine it's important as you're trying to be efficient with your day. What do you do? Are there any tips to kind of also train your clients to, I mean, I know we talked about text me if it's important, but are there other things like, for instance, the whole, where's that line and what are some things you can do? And you're like, dude, do you know how to search for your email? Because I probably sent that to you 10 times. And, those types of things, not that, but I mean, anything like that where you're like, if my clients were trained better, we're both being more efficient and I'm not having to, do things off schedule as much, that type of strategy.
My biggest thing, because the only time that my clients have to contact me is payroll. And they know that I have to have payroll on Mondays. And I'm not doing payroll on Wednesdays. So I need payroll on Monday. And it's up to them. My new clients that I take over, I will send them a message on Monday and I'll be like, hey, I need your payroll. And then after a couple weeks, I'll say they just need to, I have a list. And so on Monday, I go through it and I get the payroll done. And then I just sit and wait. And then I will do it on Tuesday, but I am always going to get on Tuesday like, I'm so sorry, this is late, So I try to let them know, like, I travel a lot and I'm not home on these days. If you want it done, I need it on Monday, because Monday is my work day. You
don't want to send too many reminders, because then it's like they get to rely on your reminders.
Correct. So like yesterday, so today's Wednesday. So Tuesday, I got a text message with payroll. But like I said, this is odd because I'm not home. Like, I'm literally at a different office. So when I got it, I saw it, but it's in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Well, by the time I got home, I totally forgot about it, because I have 27 more text messages that everybody's doing those stupid PPP loans. And so this morning, he just sent a message and said, hey, did you get our text message on time? And I'm like, oh, thank you for reminding me. So they had to remind me. And I tell them all the time, you have one accountant. I have 22 clients. So
wait, did you get our text message on time?
Yeah, because I got it on Tuesday. Message? I got it on Tuesday and I forgot to do their payroll. So they text me a reminder today going, did you get our text message? And I was like, Oh, yes, I did. And thank you for reminding me. So before I left, I went downstairs, did the payroll, and I sent it off to him. And I was like, here you go. I'm sorry. Because they have to remind me as well, because they're sending me, if it's not on a Monday, if they're not sending it on a Monday, it is their responsibility to make sure they realize I didn't get their payroll done. Because Monday, I'm not going to forget, because Monday I go through and I check emails all day long and I have a form. But after that, if you decide to text me at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, I might not ever see that text. I might not remember. I got a lot of stuff going on. So they'll text me and I'm like, don't hesitate to text me. So
what about, do you have like, generally, I know I've asked a related, kind of a similar question, but just questions to make yourself, things to make yourself, it could be things, it could be practices to make yourself more comfortable as someone who is working, at home, working from home.
Well, I think you have to do what makes you feel good. If you want to get up in the morning and, take a shower and get ready for the day and do your hair and your makeup, and that's what makes you feel good, then you should do it. Oh, your hair looks fabulous. It is getting long. We could probably French braid that hair.
I don't think so. I don't think that would make me feel good.
You don't want some cornrows in there?
So basically you're saying, like, if what makes me comfortable, I'm not saying this is, but I may have done this morning. It's like, oh crap, it's 7:55. And I literally just have to go out and go, well, I'm logged on by 8 and I will get better dressed here as we go. So, but yeah, just those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying just make sure you're comfortable. Like,
yeah.
Like, is there something like, before you know it, you're dehydrated because you've been working, anything, those types of things, or
you do need to be conscious of food and drinks and all that kind of stuff as well, because you can't get sucked into it. But I think that the hardest part about working from home is not thinking that you can just do it tomorrow, because it's out of sight, out of mind. It's like, well, they don't need it by Friday, so why put it off? And procrastinators, it's very, very hard. Instead of saying, I don't want to work on Friday, so why am I going to wait till Friday to do it? There's been many times where I'm like, I'm just going to do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and I'm like, someone will call and go, hey, we're going over here. And I'm like, son of a gun. Like, I would have loved to.
What is that? People who like to, delay gratification.
Yeah.
So they go, well, yeah, I could take off time now, but I would rather be able to take off Friday.
Right.
And so, there's that. Man, I had a related note to that and I've forgotten what it was. Other thoughts while I try to think of that.
Ooh, I don't have any other thoughts. We are going long. This is like super long.
I don't got those thoughts. Okay, well, I just wanted to pick your brain on it. Since I didn't have a lot to, let me see if I can think of anything else that I'm just wondering as a, brand new work at home person.
Well, I can say that if you can't have a separate area to work from, then more than likely it's not a permanent work at home position. Like, if it's a computer position, not everything is computer. It might be a sewing. You might just be sewing all day long or whatever. But more than likely, if you're just in a temporary situation, if they said to you, hey, Tyson, we want you to now work from home every day, you would probably want to change the situation of what you have now. You don't want everything set up to where every time you look over there, you see all your books and your files in your living kitchen.
Right.
Your living or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I would have to do something, but some of it's like, well, what do you want to look at? I've always liked window view. It's like, this is my window view. And, it's as good of a place as any as far as where the tables were, and where the tables make sense to go. I don't know that I wanted to look at a wall, but if the room is big enough and it's more of a separate room, I guess that's okay. So you're right. If it ever became permanent, and I was actually going to get a laptop when we moved in June anyway, so that would make me more likely to, be a permanent. We're moving into different parts of the office. So if I'm one of those already going to get a laptop, I'd be more one of those that's if this happens again, please, shame on me for saying that.
Yeah, no.
I would be, more likely to be that 100% remote instead of 50-50. So, I'll just continue to ask questions as we go, since you're the expert on it. And then folks, you can ask some questions too, or any tips that you have, via Facebook or whatever. What we haven't really done a really good job with is kind of like start little discussion posts. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just noting, because I certainly haven't done it.
Yeah.
So,
well,
hey,
we'll
this week our topic was blah, blah, blah. What are your thoughts on working from home? Any tips, likes, dislikes,
Yeah, and I was kind of waiting till after 26 and now after tax season, but I really just wanted, when we did this, I wanted people, when they went to our podcast, I wanted them to see a plethora of shows and not just like two, because as one of my podcasts, when I was interviewing my friend Chris and I was telling him he should do a podcast and how easy it was, he was like, yeah, but I do insurance, and you go and you find these, people that do these podcasts, and you're like, oh, that was a really good one. And you go back and they have like 3 episodes, and the last episode was like 2 years ago. And you're just kind of like,
known as Tyson's podcast.
So I thought, well, if we had 26 of them, this right here is about 50 hours worth of listening if somebody wanted to start our podcast from the very beginning. So,
well, they can just spend their entire quarantine time if they've got a positive test. They got to hang around for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay, we got a little ways to go on that, but
yeah. Well,
their waking hours, I don't know.
Subconsciously.
Oh, that's food. What am I doing? Yeah.
So anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time, and appreciate our listeners. And we are excited that we keep growing and growing and growing. Make sure to comment in our Facebook group, Chemology 411. And if you have not joined, please do. Thank you, Tyson, for helping make Chemology 411 so awesome.
You betcha. Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome. We will talk to you soon, and please make sure to keep taking all your adventures. Bye-bye.